Alrighty then, so I'm back here with another Cyberpunk 2077 video, but this time with the AMD RX 580 8GB version. I'll be testing it both on 720p and 1080p resolution. Now before I begin with this video, I'll really appreciate if you guys go ahead and hit the like button down below. Also, if you're new to my channel, please do consider subscribing, as I have the most accurate FPS benchmarks on the latest games. So without further ado, let's get to it. I am using the latest patch 1.06, starting off with 1080p full screen, the lowest preset. Alright, so I am using the RX 580 8GB version. This is a very nice card that I have. I think it's the Devil Edition, made by PowerColor. And yeah, it's still a beast. As you can see, we're finally able to achieve 60 FPS on 1080p. A really huge jump from the RX 470 that I was using before. Very smooth. I was able to overclock this card a little bit, about 80 megahertz on the core and 100 megahertz on the memory clock. Anything more, I wasn't able to start this game, so it would crash. So this is best case scenario, and it's performed really good. In my opinion, this RX 580 8GB card may be one of the best budget cards out there for around 120 bucks. It's still quite useful, and you can get a lot out of it still. Alright, let's see what we got here on the medium preset. Okay, so we are in a low 50s. Still quite playable. Okay, let's move into the high settings. Motion blur off. Okay, now we're going lower, of course. Upper 30s. The game is still smooth and playable. So as I move every notch up in a higher tier AMD card here, and it does make sense that probably on 1080p high settings could be your best bet for overall smoothness, quality, performance. Could really be enjoyable, averaging mid to high 30 FPS on high settings. Okay, now let's wrap this up on the Ultra. Motion blur off. Once again, we're on 1080p, 100% scale resolution. And now the game looks a lot better, and we are in the low 30s, upper 20s, probably in some areas. Still playable. Now that's something to really think about. It does slow down a little bit, but if you really want the good visuals, you should be able to get away with the Ultra settings. Just not as smooth as it would be on high settings, so that's something to think about here. Now, of course, I'm assuming, and we'll know shortly, that 720p will be no problem for this card at all. Okay, so let's move on to 720p here. Start off with the lowest preset. Alright, now we're looking really nice here. In the 80s, 90s. To be expected. We'll see if I could come close to 60 FPS on Ultra. Probably not. Probably be around high settings or so. Okay, let's go into the next one, which is medium here. Okay, now we're getting into low 70s, mid 70s. Very playable.
Let's talk.
Not bad at all. Okay, let's do the high settings now. Motion blur off. Okay. And like I mentioned before, this game is so detailed that 720p high settings or ultra will still look really good. You'll still feel like it's 720p. Very sharp, a lot of detail, looks great. So nothing to be ashamed if you want those high FPS at 720p. As long as you keep it at 100% full scale resolution, it will look great. Alright, so we're still in the 60s here. Not bad at all. So let's see if I could hold on the Ultra. Here we are, Ultra settings with motion blur off once again. Where does that bring us? Okay, not quite 60. Mid to high 50s. Or more like mid 50s. to low 50s. Okay. Alright, now we see here. So definitely playable on Ultra here. And very enjoyable. So we did drop to mid to high 40s.
How much for this? Not for sale. Delta, you scary customer.
Okay, so there it is. As you can see, the 580 is doing quite well for this game. Definitely a great card to have, especially the 8GB version. So the conclusion is 1080p, best settings on high preset, and could even run on Ultra. But high is the best setting here, and on 720p, best setting Ultra. Very enjoyable, looks good, very smooth. Well, that's about it. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and goodbye.